Hey guys, what's up? It's day 13 of our quarantine, so second to last day. Really excited about that. It's about 1 p.m. right now. I just got out of our last life group session, actually, so my Stanford College Bible study. Really grateful to have been a part of it this last year, and hopefully it continues on throughout the summer as a lot of us plan to, a lot of us seem to be able to make it, so really grateful for that opportunity as well. We just got lunch. Come to think of it, we have on average of 2 meals a day in quarantine thus far. So if that pattern continues, this will be our 4th last meal in quarantine, if that makes any sense. Some of you may recognize this brand. It's Yoshinoya. It's a popular chain store in Japan. They sell beef rice bowls. If you look in this plastic bag, like some pretty crazy packaging going on. I guess I'll put it out on the table so you guys can take a better look. So my mom and I each got a combo set meal, which partially explains why there's so much stuff on this table. So the beef rice bowl, mine is kimchi flavored. My mom's like a more plain beef rice bowl. So each one has its own like side order of vegetables, like a half-boiled egg, pickled cabbage, and a drink. I think this is like green tea, latte. I don't know what that is. And like, this is funny because like, my mom got kimchi as a side, and like, my bowl already has kimchi in it, so it's like double the amount of kimchi. This is some vegetables that we made ourselves, because we kind of have to finish up like everything in our fridge right now, because like I said, like, this is our second to last day in quarantine, and like, our family friends like bought a lot of stuff for us and like stockpiled the apartment before we came. So we don't want to like leave all this stuff for them to clean up. So we're gonna try to like finish as much of this stuff as possible before we leave. Okay guys, I figured out what this drink was, because I was like, wait, I didn't order a drink. And then I was also wondering where the miso soup went, because I just realized I ordered that and I didn't see it in the bag. Yeah, it's right here. It's put in a coffee cup. It's kind of confusing, but. Hey, what's up? It's 8:30 p.m. and for dinner we got something that is really hard to get where I live in the United States now. Do you know the rate Burger Kings are closing in the Bay Area? It's kind of sad. Anyways, so here's an apple pie turnover that my mom got. Here are some nuggets. It comes with the meal with my Whopper, and we have one Whopper and another Whopper. We got 2 Whoppers. And here's something strange. I don't know when sweet and sour sauce came in these kind of packages. They used to look exactly like the ones that you'd get in the US, but now they look like ketchup packets. I don't know when that happened. Anyways. Hey guys, what's up? It's day 14, and you know what that means. This is officially the last day of quarantine. Now I know that, like, if you can see, like, it's already dark out, so usually I start my vlog like earlier in the day, usually in late morning or like around noon, but I was actually kind of busy today, so hopefully in the following videos I'm able to recap kind of what happened today to the best of my ability. So earlier today, the trash guy came. It's the last trash pickup we scheduled for our time in quarantine. This is the 3rd time they picked up the trash for us. There was some confusion around where we live, because according to the guy, he called me like as he was gonna pick up the trash, and he told me that the address that we filled in was sort of confusing. Like, I didn't put in like the section of the main road we lived on or something, which confused me because like the other 2 guys before him didn't have a problem like locating our apartment. I don't know. I still feel kind of bad, causing him the inconvenience. So we gotta sort it out eventually. at around 11:30, we managed to squeeze in one last D&D game during our quarantine period with the gang. Really happy how today's combat phase went, even though it didn't exactly go smoothly, but that's the whole point, right? I mean, it's a boss battle, it's supposed to be hard, so appreciate the challenge, and appreciate my brother for DMing. Couple interesting developments along the plot, like plot twists, if you will, as well. Pretty enjoyable. To summarize what happened in terms of plot, basically, we left the castle, went back to town to find the town being absolutely screwed over by occultists. Surprise, surprise. We had a fight in the church. I was not really surprised by the fact that the big bad happened to be the cult leader being possessed by this kind of evil, demonic power. I guess I sort of expected that was the case to begin with. What I was surprised, though, was that one of the non-player characters apparently had like a past romance with one of the player characters, which he kept really silent up until this point. I don't know. I guess it would have just been convenient to know such things. But what do I know, right? Well, now we know. Doesn't really change too much, though, but, you know. Anyways, we left off at a point where, like, physically speaking, it's unclear whether or not we were all going to be able to get through this in one piece. A lot of us have really low health. I'm doing just fine, but then again, like, I don't contribute that much to combat in terms of damaging enemies anyways. I'm more of like a supportive character in that sense, so we'll see how my friends do next time we play. So D&D session ended at about 2:15. So another quote-unquote short session of 3 hours long, no less. At 4 o'clock, though, I had an interview for a company that I wanted to... I applied for an internship position at that company, and they gave me an interview through Google Meet. First time, only time I wore my collared shirt during my quarantine period. I guess going into the interview, I wasn't really sure what to expect because, again, I've never really done that many interviews to begin with, and surely never an interview for a Taiwanese company. I sat, on this, like, one-person couch, like, balancing the laptop on my lap, during the interview. One thing I will say about the interview that particularly struck me was how technical it turned out to be. I mean, I understand, like, I was applying for a software engineering position, so I guess the technical part, like, should be there, but, like, I sort of expected them to, like, at least, ask me questions like, tell us about yourself, like, why do you want to work for our company in particular? What can you bring, like, to the culture or the working environment of this company or whatever, project group you're in? Like, do you work good, in a team? What are some accomplishments that you're most proud of? Like, stuff like that. But they didn't really ask me any of that. They just, like, I feel like they had, like, a checklist in front of them or something. Like, as soon as I sat down, right, like, first questions were just like, oh, what's a pointer? Like, what's the difference between a stack and a heap? Like, really, really technical questions like that. And then, being the CS noob as I was, I've taken, like, I don't know, like, 3 basic CS classes, have not had, much coding experience to speak of, before I got into college. At one point, I just was not able to answer the questions specifically anymore. Like, I would tell the dude, like, oh, I understand the concept of, like, I don't know, multi-threading, but, like, he was like, oh, how would you do it? I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe if I took, like, 2 more classes, I would be able to give you an answer, but I really can't. And then at one point, he was just like, wait, what grade you in again? I'm like, I'm a sophomore in college. I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I don't know, I feel kind of bad because I was like, wait, what does that mean? And then, like, surely enough, right after like, we got that clear, he no longer asked me any questions that, like, I found particularly hard answering. I guess he just, like, cut those out or whatever. The like latter portion of the interview was just given a scenario, right, like write out this code, and like talk it out with the dude, as you go along. The interviewer would ask like like how can you make this code better, right? Like does this part work? Does that part work? And you're just like, well, this part works, but I guess that part doesn't work. I guess like you could change it like that, and you kind of like work it out like as you speak your mind, like you kind of just like figure it out as you go along, which is probably like in a sense like what the job's gonna be like when you actually like should you actually like intern or work there. Not exactly sure how to gauge how well I did during the interview. I think I did okay. I think suffice it to say, I was able to demonstrate like what skills I had and apply the skills and the knowledge that I did have. I applied it pretty well. And given the fact that I really do not have that much experience in terms of actual computer programming outside classes, and the fact this is actually my first interview in Taiwan for a Taiwanese company, in Chinese, I guess like I really couldn't ask for that much more. So I think it went okay. They say they'll get back to me pretty quickly about their decision, so grateful for that because at least I don't have to wait that long. They said like 1 to 2 days. They'll send me an email, so I'll be waiting. It's June 11th, 8 o'clock right now, so literally, right, 4 hours away from being able to walk out that door. I think the plan at this point is at midnight we call an Uber and take a 1 hour car ride over to our actual apartment in Nehu district where my dad and my brother currently are. So we're not going to wait for tomorrow morning. We're actually going to leave pretty soon. And so there will be some packing up to do for sure. I think my mom's already getting to that. We're going to be doing that and getting that done pretty soon. Everything here has got to go and, to be polite, right, reverted to what it originally looked like. Just ordered our last dinner here in quarantine. Through Food Panda again, using this laptop, waiting for the delivery guy to call me any second, or ring the doorbell, or tell me that the stuff's been dropped off at our door. Something's become quite routine for us over the last 2 weeks. In the meantime, getting rid of stuff in the fridge, passion fruit, any drinks, everything's gotta go. I guess there's still a lot of stuff that we left behind, so we're either gonna have to dump it or communicate with our family friends that we're leaving it here because we actually don't really know when they're gonna live here next because this is their vacation home, so they don't really have to come live here. So we don't want any of the food to spoil. We got rid of most stuff, but still some stuff like the tofu remained. I don't know what to do with it. So coming to the end of the quarantine period. Before I said it's not as bad as I thought it would be, but to put it in a more positive sense, I think in terms of productivity, right, I actually exceeded my own expectations by quite a bit actually. I thought I would be completely unproductive during this period. It turned out to be quite the contrary. What I'm particularly grateful for was being able to pursue projects and, do things that I otherwise, would not have the time or would not be able to find the motivation to do. And among those things, right, the biggest one that, is probably sort of obvious was, compiling this quarantine vlog. After this episode is compiled and put on YouTube, this will be the 10th episode that I made. I spent a good couple of hours every day on average, right, doing these. And in a really real way, right, it keeps me on my feet and it kept me going. I think I would have been hard pressed to find a better way to combat boredom and, to keep myself motivated during this time than to make this blog because it kind of necessitated me to constantly, right, be aware of my surroundings, of everything that could potentially be material that can be consolidated and compiled and, to share up with y'all, even though I'm physically isolated, to be able to reach out and interact with people, right, through and obviously, right, the editing and the compiling and all like the work on Adobe Premiere and YouTube, right, that I had to do, and in doing, right, to learn tricks and ways to improve myself um, in that technical side. I think is something that I will look back really fondly on this project as a whole in the years to come. Other things that I did, that was productive. 2 online courses about data science would be one. Actually keeping to my exercise routine, which is surprising, even though it's really not that much to ask of myself. Half an hour every day, right? On some days I did like resistance band training, like weight training, and then like on the alternate days, right, I just did half an hour of pedaling on the stationary bike. Kept to it though, so I'm kind of proud of that. Really, my bar for myself is quite low, as you can tell. I feel like a lot of stuff just like slips my mind when I, need to formulate a list of things I did, and this is just one of those times that I just can't think of stuff. So I'm just gonna move on to the stuff that was just fun to do. 3 D&D sessions, with my brother and friends from church. Really entertaining. What else? Watched lots of movies. Watched Taiwanese news. In the last couple of days, I got to watch Netflix. So watched Planet Anime and the show called Narcos with my mom as well. So that was fun. One thing I realized I didn't get to was downloading and finishing an audiobook, which I said to myself that I would do, but I just figured I didn't get to it. Something tells me there'll be plenty of time to do that, later on, though. So not that worried about it. Really took advantage of Uber Eats and Food Panda these past 2 weeks. Amazing how fast and how good their service is. This is not a paid commercial. I'm just saying, it's amazing how fast they deliver and how good the food is here. Even though we cannot actually eat out at restaurants, the food is excellent. I don't know what I could say about it that's bad. It's just great. The groceries arrived, extremely fast. It's quite scary, actually. So, interesting experience to have had. And here we are, guys. Last dinner and also last meal during our quarantine period. We got some really legit Taiwanese stuff. You can't get more Taiwanese than this. This is rice balls. It's quite fitting, actually. My mom made these vegetables, clean out the fridge and all that. Soy milk and some Taiwanese sweets and this I guess bamboo soup that was left over from lunch. Okay, so it's almost midnight, guys, and just to kind of clear out the house in an orderly fashion. So everything within this door has already been reverted to its original state. We don't have anything that we own in here anymore. Everything that we got is out here. The luggage getting packed up. One luggage is already by the door, so this is our larger luggage. Getting things finished up. Alright, so most of what we're taking away that was left in the fridge is in this little paper box. This is our other luggage, and this is the rest of the trash. I think we're gonna dump it after we leave the apartment. Alright, so here's our other larger luggage. It's also packed, so one last look at this room, guys. It's like we never came. Here's our trusty Wi-Fi we've been using for the last 2 weeks. Air conditioning remote, couldn't have lived without that one. And yeah, we're all ready to go. Everything we got is by the door right here. Luggage, backpacks, shoes, and everything else is staying. So, and I guess that's it, guys. Due to obvious reasons, I won't be able to upload this until tomorrow. I'll try to get it compiled as soon as I can after I get back to our family's apartment in Nehu District. last episode of my quarantine vlog. Hope you guys enjoyed it again, or found it informative, or both. If you're in any way encouraged by my experience, because of your own experiences with quarantine, whatever that may be, right? Even better. It'd be really great if that was the case. You see that? It's midnight, guys. You know what this means? Oh, who's gonna stop me now?